So thank you so much for joining us. This is Woman 360. Today's topic is quite interesting and everyone has got their view on this. What are we talking about today? Today we're dwelling into the world of a moody, grumpy, irritable person and maybe to be specific, a woman. But then the question is a lonely woman grumpy, moody, irritable, temperamental? What causes a person to be like this? We have two wonderful guests on the show today. I have a psychotherapist, Chilimba Hamavwa, and I have Danny Kaya, Danny Masikuyonse, Danny Akumbuyo, whichever name you'd like to refer to him as. Simply because Chilimba will give us the psychotherapist's point of view in terms of what causes a person to be like this. And then Danny has done a song which talks about a woman being very temperamental. So we'll get into details of these when we talk to these two gentlemen. But this is Woman 360 for today. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Woman 360. If you're just joining us, we are talking about a lonely woman, a lonely person being grumpy, irritable. What causes this? And because I love interacting with you guys out there, go to Facebook, My Woman 360, go to that page and then just give us your comment, share your thoughts on what exactly you have to say about this, and we'll have your thoughts right here in studio. But then we went into the streets of Lusaka just to see what you have to say about this particular topic.
A woman without a man, they are not complete. So a woman without a man, they feel to be out of the world. So they tend to be so aggressive. They tend to be so vocal because they miss something. You know, a woman for sure to be complete. A woman should have a man in life.
There is always that time in a woman, you know, and of course they will need someone, you know what I mean? So to some extent, because also age matters. You know, the more you grow up, the more you need companion, and you need a partner. So that's what I would say. To some extent, yeah. Some you find they are moody, you know what I mean? Some you find even the decisions they make. You know, we all need. They say two is better than one at the end of the day. So to some extent, yeah, they are there. They get grumpy. Yeah, it's true.
I don't think so that she can be an annoyed person, because everything has its time, and God gives a husband to a woman when time is right for God, you know, to give her. And everything comes on its time, at its time. And the woman just has to wait. She shouldn't be annoyed. I don't think that there is any need for her to be annoyed. She should just be concentrating on her daily life.
No, that's not true. In fact, if we are to tell the truth, she is a woman who is supposed to be the happiest person, because, you know, marriage is something which is a God-given issue. If you haven't yet been given, you must be proud of the period given to you by God. So it's not true that she should be annoyed. She must be the happiest person because her time hasn't yet come. If her time will come, she will be the happiest. So the more she takes her time in deciding to get into marriage, she should appreciate God, because it's like she has been given time to be given the right person who is to take care of her.
Okay, basically I have seen some women who not really grumpy, but they're just bitter. Maybe it's because, mostly you would find maybe she's your boss, and then you young ones, maybe you've got a fiance or maybe you're married, you know, that kind of a thing. Then maybe mostly I think maybe because of being lonely, they're usually very bitter, you know. You would find maybe you didn't even do something wrong, then she'll just yell at you for no reason. So I think sometimes it depends with how the person is. Yeah.
Thank you so much for still watching Woman 360. I'm now joined by Chilimba Hamavwa, who's just going to tell us more about what this reaction in our human system is all about. Chilimba, thank you so much for making an appearance on Woman 360.
Thank you, Judy.
Firstly, maybe let's start by defining what lonely is.
Well, obviously lonely it comes from loneliness, or loneliness comes from lonely. Lonely is just the idea that one lives in isolation from our immediate environment, and the environment notices that. It could be people, could be children, could be parents, could be friends. So some degree of isolation from others, whether it's reality or an experience of some form of illness or symptom of something. But it's a state that binds one to negative emotions. And I think eventually the person looks sad, and perhaps their thoughts are not helpful, their negative thoughts.
Okay.
And probably their self-esteem is down, affected by what I'll call self-psychology, the way they perceive themselves. Probably they think that they're not as good, or they're lacking in their lives, and therefore life is not equal. And because of that, they have sad feelings.
No, really.
And they stay away from others.
Okay. So how could we differentiate being lonely and maybe being an introvert?
Yeah, a good question. Being lonely really should be something that's not so natural. Maybe something you're not really born with. It's something that it's a state of being through experiencing. But what you've just asked me is a personality type. And these personality types, some people are outgoing, more outgoing than others. Others are completely withdrawn. Some are in the middle of the two. And sometimes you are born with these things. Most of those you are born with. They are characteristics, they are behaviors. Sometimes they could be related to some psychological illnesses in the family. Like if you are schizoid personality, you could maybe be coming from a schizophrenic kind of environment. So that's a type of personality that you never imposed it upon yourself. Whereas being lonely sometimes can be a choice. And you thought that you'd stay away from everybody and sort out your problems, but they ended up sorting you out. So you didn't escape. So we see you now struggling to come out of it, but you're lonely.
Okay. So many times we hear us women being, if you just maybe become a little bit temperamental, or you know, you're just a little bit sad, maybe because of something happening, you hear people start saying, that's why we should all suffer and whatnot. So is it true really that a lonely woman is temperamental, is irritable, and she tends to be grumpy?
A lonely woman will be grumpy. I think she'll be grumpy because certain things are not adding up. And maybe some of those things are psychological in nature, they are social in nature, they are cultural in nature, and economic in nature.
Okay. I like the way you've categorized them. So maybe we could start with the psychological part. What could these psychological deficiencies be?
Yeah. A lonely woman psychologically could come from a background of mental disorder. She could be coming from an illness environment, a very sad environment. So as they were growing up, they didn't learn how to be happy. And the mother never ever praised her. So they didn't have the skill, and also the emotion was flat. They grew up with a flat emotion. I think that children should be allowed to be happy, to jump about and experience life within certain margins. But psychologically also may entail this loneliness is not really like external forces are involved. Maybe friends are teasing them and what. But actually there's an inside inability to be happy because there's some underlying depression somewhere. So if there is a depression already in the family or in the system, in the body system, in the mind, in the brain, the way the brain is functioning, the chemicals playing up, and they're giving the person depression, they will be more likely to be exclusive from others. So hence lonely.
All right.
In school, in work, they will not be very interactive.
Okay. And culturally?
Well, culturally, there are these demands and terms given to women when they perform certain things, they are okay. If they don't perform certain things, they're not okay. And an African woman is a fantastic woman. But also culturally, suppose a woman cannot marry. Suppose a woman keeps on having children, but she can't marry. That becomes a stumbling block to her wellness. She will criticize herself based on what people say culturally. Oh, you are a failure, you can't keep a relationship. You are a failure, you can't keep a marriage. You know, you're supposed to be a woman like this, bring up children culturally like this. A woman is a teacher of morals.
At every stage, at every age, this is supposed to be Okay. And when you say emotionally, what are the deficiencies there?
Socially, I was thinking about relationships. Now, women are relating agents more than men, I think. They speak 15 times more than men.
That's a huge gap, eh?
So socially, ideally they would be interactive. But if they can't form a lasting relationship, that slaps them in the face. If, for example, they have a kid and the partner delays coming to take over the role of caring for the agreed time, that just pushes them in the corner. Like in Europe, just a child delaying to get ready to go to the father. If, say, she's now with the mother, now she has to go to the father because that's a schedule. Oh, that just sets the woman into all sorts of emotions.
And what you said right now, Chidimba, reminds me of the chat we were having just before we came on set. Yeah. You told me something very interesting, that the sort of things that really make a woman moody and irritable and temperamental in Africa is very different from what would maybe spark something like that in Europe. So what is the difference? Well,
the difference is there's less economic pressure. Here there's emphasis on the roles as defined by culture. We have lost our extended family, but we haven't lost it completely. We still have respect for our parents. We actually hear what our uncles, aunties say. And right now I'm dealing with cases like that. And the family is still very strong in Africa. Okay. But the issue of luck is the big one here. The woman here will be thinking about how to feed her family, her children, what money to get to buy those shoes. They saw something with their friends, so they like to be like their friends, and they don't have the money. That just pushed them on another notch.
So even financial is an issue?
Yeah, it's a big issue, poverty-related grumpiness. Okay. It's higher here than in Europe. In Europe, they don't care. You give me a child, I don't want a child in the first place. Here, you want a child. There, the girls don't want a child. Here, you want a child to prove yourself culturally.
That's the total opposite, eh?
Yeah, it's absolutely. They will be concerned about relationship things there, rather than economic things, more or less.
Some people that we spoke to on the streets were also referring to a woman not having a man by her side, a woman not having sex would also make her go into such temperaments. Is it true?
Well, I mean, we can look at it.
Something we fed our mind.
Yeah, I think we can look at it more in detail and say that what's the role of sex overall? We know that sex is important, but I'm not sure if you cannot manage when you don't have it. I'm not sure if you have to be grumpy or be lonely because you don't have sex. But yes, some people will definitely crave sex because sex is addictive also, depending on how they came into sex life. But sex is very important in people, in our lives, basically. It's especially when you've become of age. I think sex is so crucial. If you don't have it, it will affect you emotionally. Okay. There are hormones involved also. You have to let go of certain hormones when time comes, especially if you're holding, you were holding before ovulation. Now ovulation has come, again you are holding. It can almost kill you.
Okay. Here we're talking about the woman. What about the man? Does it have the same effect?
Well, more or less, yes. Probably even worse, I think, to some extent, in terms of practical aspects. The reason is that women could be better handlers of sexual needs, or is it practicing sex, than men. Probably men will be more unfaithful than women, probably, especially in our African setting, where we have this conscience, we have conscience. And most Africans would be Christians or religious generally. So there are these controls also. Most Africans would be Christians or religious generally. So there are these controls also. But men have a big problem. And the problem is that of hormones, I'm on air here, but on sperm.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because the man has a factory for sperms, whether he likes it or not, there will be accumulation. So when there is accumulation, the stimulation is higher. The more the tank is full, if you like me to say that,
Yes.
the more the connections to the wires, live wires in the brain, the eyes, is higher.
Okay.
So they are most likely to behave like animals, but not really. They can lose control.
Okay.
And I think women can do better.
So even handle the situation better.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
You don't have the real drive apart from your mindset, but also the time of ovulation. But the man has a real pressure to get rid of those accumulations.
Which causes all sorts of temperaments as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and if they don't, there's tension. You know, if you don't have sex, there'll be tension, whether you're a woman or a man.
Okay.
If you don't have sex, you have tension. But I'm not advocating sex outside marriage, okay?
Of course, of course not. Now, Chilimba, we've talked about all these emotions that brew this, that make a woman temperamental, that make a person temperamental because of lacking either socially or maybe some deeper thing like the background, how you grew up.
Yeah.
So if I'm a woman who is in that situation, how do I deal with it? I want to change. I want to be a better person.
Give you the 3A model, Chilimba 3A model.
Ah, perfect.
Okay, Chilimba 3A model is like this. The first A is acknowledge that this is here.
And maybe before we move on, do people who are in this situation know that I'm grumpy, I'm temperamental,
Okay,
I'm moody?
They don't.
They don't.
A lot of them do.
Okay.
But if it's a psychotic, if it's a grumpiness from a psychotic background means a major mental illness background, which is not yet here, but is somewhere along the line. But maybe it's not with the person, it's in the family. So they've just gotten traces of that. Yeah, it might be a bit tough one.
Okay.
But I think that, and those people may not really be aware.
That
Most of loneliness, as in experienced by people, is something they know.
Okay.
I'm lonely. They say it. I'm lonely. They will define it their own way, and you have to take it seriously. Some like this, others like that. So
And different levels.
yeah.
Okay, now we go back to the Chilimba
The question
3As.
of 3A model.
Yes.
Okay, this is a Chilimba 3A model of problem solving. The first A is acknowledge. The second A is accept. And the third A is action.
Oh, okay.
You acknowledge, like we said, that I seem to be lonely. Accept that this is real. You are actually lonely. Accept, maybe I should face the camera.
Yes.
You should face the reality of your time that I am lonely. And I'm lonely because I see this and that about me. And then take action. Taking action means seeking help from outsiders or from within yourself. There is what we call self-talk. Self-talk is where you talk to yourself about your situation and work out what you've known so far at your age as possible solutions.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chilimba.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much, Judy.
All right.
Yeah.
You're watching Woman 360, and I've been talking to Chilimba Hamavwa, who's just given us the psychotherapist perspective of just, the repercussions of being lonely, especially for a woman. And also he's given us solutions which we can really look into, and they can definitely help. Now, next, after the break, we go and speak to Danny Kaya. Thank you so much for still watching Woman 360. We now go to have a chat with Danny. He's done a song, Yamakwela, where he talks about temperaments of a woman. But what prompted him to do the song? Where did he get the idea? Is it from experience? Is it something that just came up on his mind? Well, we'll find out more as we have a chat with Danny. Danny, how are you?
I'm okay, and how are you?
Fine. How have you been? What's been happening?
Yeah, just been busy, as usual, doing stuff here and there, recording, writing new songs, and I'm trying to see what happens next.
Okay, I've heard a few of them on radio. They're making a lot of good noise.
Yeah, what I did is actually the album was supposed to be out somewhere in September, October. But that's when the hologram was introduced, so I decided to hold it on a bit until it stabilizes. So it should be ready by December, January.
Okay.
I want to make it for the new year.
Ah, nice. Looking forward to that one. Now we talk about our topic of discussion today. You've done a song, Yamakwela. Tell me about that. First, the lyrics. Did you write the song?
Yeah, I did.
What was going through your mind at that time? What inspired that song?
Really, I don't know. But I think it's music. Music, you tend to read people's minds, moods, anywhere you go. As an artist, that's your job. You see things that other people wouldn't see. So I can't even pick exactly where I got that idea, but it's something I believe you want to believe with me as a woman that the higher you go, the cooler it becomes.
So do you agree with people who say that a woman who's lonely, who doesn't have a man, who goes home and is alone is very, uptight, and she's kind of very temperamental?
That's actually a good recipe for danger. A woman who's very lonely is dangerous. God never intended to make a woman to be lonely. So I believe every woman at some point needs to find a man. There are just some human needs that are always accompanied by being with a man and woman, that no matter how much you try. That's why even even the richest woman, say a woman with a very rich father, at one point she has to leave the father and go look for a man. That's the way nature is.
Your music is very conscious. Is it a deliberate move, or you just found yourself writing such songs?
I don't know, it's me, but what I think I do is I really take time to write a song. I believe that what I say in a song does not matter than how I say it. So maybe that's where the depth and the consciousness comes out. And I really try to make sure when I write a song, I want people to see the art in it, not just the music.
To ladies out there, especially those who are going through some, very trying moments, because sometimes maybe when you're quite put back from society, you don't even know you're going through such a phase. What would you tell them?
I would say it's quite healthy to all the ladies out there. It's quite healthy once in a year. I usually do this sometimes in December. Take time off whatever you're doing. It means going out of the country, go. If it means waenda chekumunzi, go. The reason you're going to do that is to go and find yourself. Life is very important because life is so challenging. Every day you have this, always find time. As when we change when I'm a holiday, retreat, to me that's the most important, because it's time you switch off your phone, you just go sit, reflect about the whole year, what happened, what did you achieve. Then you're able to find yourself, then you may realize that actually you are lonely. Tempers need to go down,
That's it. That's all we had for you on Woman 360 today. Join us next week at the same time. On behalf of the entire production crew of Woman 360, I'm Judy Ngulube. Thank you so much.
I can cast a spell, secrets you can't tell.